Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Reshi's Kaman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. Among these three men, one of them will be the next president. Among these three gentlemen, one of them will be sworn in around September 2027 as the President of the Republic of Kenya. These are Jimmy Wanjigi, a billionaire, Okiya Mtata, Busia senator, and a human rights activist, or Fred Matiang'i, the former powerful Interior or Homeland Security CS in Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's government. Why am I saying this, ladies and gentlemen? A number of opinion polls have been carried out, and these people have always been paired and have been following very closely, including in this channel, about the opinion of Kenyans. And we also discovered that there was not, when you compare these people with the three, when you compare them with Kalonzo, you pair them with Kalonzo, they would defeat Kalonzo. You pair them with any other candidate, they will defeat them. And for example, when Okiya Mtata was paired with William Samoei Ruto, Okiya Mtata garnered 92% of the vote cast. And you see, these are sampling of all Kenyans, including the diaspora. In every opinion poll that has been carried out between Okiya Mtata and William Samoei Ruto, the lowest Okiya Mtata has obtained is 85%. And the same trend is repeated. But of the surprise candidate was Jimmy Wanjigi. The latest, in fact, about 10 farms and various channels have been carried out Jimmy Wanjigi as a candidate, including this channel. And a number of Kenyans said that they can easily vote for Jimmy Wanjigi. And Jimmy Wanjigi is a surprise candidate because, for one, I was not expecting Kenyans to be ready to vote for another Kikuyu candidate. Having Jomo Kenyatta won for 14 years, Kibaki 10 years, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta 10 years, and then here comes Jimmy Wanjigi. But I noted one thing: the era of tribalism and its ugly face is past us. I noted that Kenyans are no longer interested with the tribe. What matters to them is somebody who can deliver. When I look at Jimmy Wanjigi, he has some strength. Number one, money. The man is a billionaire. And in this country, without money, you may actually find it very, very rough to win the presidency. Because one of the things that has been very elusive and one of the greatest tasks ahead of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who I strongly believe will be the ballot, is finances. Number two about Jimmy Wanjigi is his forthrightness. The man is honest. The man shoots from the hip without missing. That is why the naked birds are flying without patching, as Chinua Achebe would say in Things Fall Apart. When I look at Jimmy Wanjigi, he came up with the debate about our debts. And he has been telling Kenyans that we have been paying non-existent debts. And he has gone ahead and told Kenyans that whatever you are paying is illegal. Whatever we have been paying is something that was not sanctioned by Parliament. So even if the presidents, the various successive presidents have been borrowing, they have been borrowing out of the legal mechanism. So whatever, if we have debts, then when you look at the projects that have been actually carried out that were supposed to be paid by these loans, according to Jimmy Wajigi and according to the Auditor General, because here, that's why I agree with Jimmy Wajigi, because he seems to agree with the auditor and the controller of budget. So this is something that is actually endearing Jimmy Wajigi to Kenyans. The other thing is that Kenyans have a tendency of actually sympathizing with somebody who is under siege. As a former Inspector General would pronounce the word siege as siege. So when I look at it, you know, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto repeated a common mistake by raiding the billionaire who could not be found at his home. So when you put policemen, like actually they are raiding terrorists in Westgate, you see, but Kenyans definitely will sympathize with them. And Kenyans and citizens in general will always sympathize such a person. There are so many reasons why people are actually going for Jimmy Wajigi. Again, when you come to Okiya Mtata is incorruptible. Okiya Mtata look like he's a candidate for Gen Z. Okiya Mtata seems to be the defender of human rights. Okiya Mtata seems to be the person who can actually defend the downtrodden. Okiya Mtata has been moving from one court to the other, defending the common mwananchi. Okiya Mtata is somebody who believes that we need to implement our constitution. If we don't implement our constitution, we get it wrong. And anytime you see the Busia senator carrying so many files, you see somebody on a mission. So this is another person who is on a mission. And one thing that captured my attention is the way he actually tell it as it is. The rest I heard about him is when he said that William Samoei Ruto is the kind of person who will look at himself in an image and deny that he's not the one. That is what he said. And they agreed with Matiang'i. Matiang'i will say to some people, the only thing that they can tell you, the only truth they can tell is about their name. And you're not even sure whether they will tell their name. So Okiya Mtata seems to be the Gen Z candidate, and he seems now to have an upper hand. Because when you look at our Gen Z do not agree with the old order. The old order of Raila Amolo Odinga, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, William Samoei Ruto, Sylvia Kalonzo Musyoka, and others. Then, when it comes to Fred Matiang'i is tested and tried. Fred Matiang'i is a man who was able to move the country from analog to digital. Remember the way people had actually refused and resisted to move from analog and were able to move to the digital, especially when it comes to the streaming of broadcasting corporations. Again, remember the way he was able to stop the madness of cheating in exams. And the man is very, very firm. The man is a go-getter. The man is a bulldozer. Though some people have been trying to say some issues about him, and the fact that he has never been taken to court about the issues of the Ruaraka land scandal that has always been over his head, hanging over his head like a sword of Dimako, can only tell you that whatever people have been saying about Fred Matiang'i cannot be sustained. Is something that is contested. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about these three men? If, for example, all of them decided to contest, whom would you choose? And don't pay out, you say, who you run me to, who you nini. If Jimmy Wajigi is a candidate, Okiya Mtata is a candidate, Fred Matiang'i is a candidate, whom would you choose? Because for me, in fact, it will take me some time to convince me now to vote for the for the old order. I believe time has come to choose these kind of guys. These are the kind of guys who can transform this country. And that is why I am strongly for the idea of the Gen Z supporting one of these three candidates. Meanwhile, kudos to the High Court in Nairobi, because they have actually given orders against the policemen. When the policemen have been wearing masks when they are actually working, when they are actually arresting people, when they are actually doing the demonstrations. They have also been concealing number plates of their vehicles. Some of them have been coming without name tags. The High Court, sitting in Nairobi, has given instructions that the policemen should not wear masks, should have their name tags, should not conceal the number plates of their vehicles, and would urge the court maybe to propose something like a law, and this is a work of parliament, where policemen should have body cameras. So you can see our institutions can work if they meet business. The only problem is that they have to look at the executive to see what the executive is going to say or what the executive is planning. Guys, let's continue voting for these guys, and feel free to vote for anybody. And maybe you can even propose somebody here. Mother Karoa is also somebody who I think can make also a very good leader. Have a blessed evening. Till next time. Bye-bye.